Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be going over some more bad news for Ghost of Yotei and Sucker Punch Productions. In the previous episode of Dragon Ball, we talked about how this game is getting a lot of flack right now because several of its employees have said some very disparaging things on social media, including comments praising political violence against people like Charlie Kirk. And now they have officially responded, albeit 2 weeks after all of this began, but somehow they have made things worse. With the response, they have now angered even the people who enjoyed the disparaging comments about Charlie Kirk. So, let me give you the quick rundown of what happened. So we have this senior artist from Sucker Punch named Drew Harrison, and you can see their profile here. They were reposting things saying that basically Charlie Kirk got what was coming to him and he's this terrible, awful person. And then they said they hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi, which is another assassin, knows his bro got his back. And despite acting very tough, after attention was shined on them, they would change their Blue Sky account. They would change their name to Drew Punching Nazis Till I Die. And then they removed all mentions of Sucker Punch and then added this part about being a personal account with views being their own. And then this infamous post here saying, if standing up to fascism is what cost me my dream job I held for 10 years, I would do it again 100% stronger. Well, as you can see for this keyboard warrior, she has recently joined the unemployment line. This was reported by Kotaku of all people back on the 12th, so about a week and a half ago, where they confirm that Drew Harrison was in fact fired and lost her dream job at Sucker Punch. And you can see the way Kotaku describes this whole situation. It'll come up again in just a second. They say Gamergate 2.0 is looking to cancel people in wake of the assassination. Now understand that for many years, probably over a decade at this point, Kotaku employed and celebrated and collaborated with game developers and reporters and what have you who have been canceling people left and right for their views, and also trying to exclude people based on their characteristics, like trying to exclude men from gaming or white people from gaming, and so on and so forth. And now they're calling this situation an act of cancel culture because people are okay with someone being fired from their job after saying disgusting things celebrating political violence. Yeah, it is now apparently anti-woke to not enjoy political violence. And I got news for you. This is a very normal thing to happen. Sucker Punch is not the government. They don't have to ensure your freedom of speech. In fact, I'm sure they, like every other company out there, has a social media clause where they can fire you if you're saying disparaging things online that makes the company look bad by association. But, of course, that was an unofficial announcement in a sense because Sucker Punch did not stand up and make their own statement. Instead, they went through places like Kotaku, and they have been radio silent for the week plus since that announcement was made by Kotaku, and a lot of people were looking at them and waiting for an official announcement. And, well, it looks like Sucker Punch was hoping for things to blow over, and that did not happen. Every single post they made on social media was getting flooded with people demanding more action and bringing up even more disparaging comments made by other employees, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But bad timing on the around the date of the Kotaku announcement. They released their trailers on YouTube, and you can see the one on the main PlayStation channel getting dislike bombed into the Shadow Realm. 22,000 likes versus 65,000 dislikes. In fact, the incompetence is really showing. This trailer that they've had years to work on is age restricted, which is just like, how do you let that happen? How'd you not have this fixed before you went live with it? But anyways, another thing to point out is that in a week, it's gotten 500,000 views, which, I don't know, seems pretty underwhelming, especially given the fact that most of the people visiting this video were there to dislike it and were not impressed by what they're seeing from this game and the company behind it. And I know this game's going to sell a lot of copies. They're going to sell millions of copies. This is a franchise that is really well liked, and a lot of people are not going to see the stuff on social media, and they're just going to go out and buy anyways. But it's a matter of how much damage did these various situations and Sucker Punch's response or lack thereof caused to this game. How many copies are they losing out now because of what has happened? But like I said, there was nothing, no response until the 20th, just a few days ago. Finally, Sucker Punch would come out and quote-unquote condemn this senior artist's comments about Charlie Kirk, and we'll get an interview right here with the co-founder of Sucker Punch, who was addressing the related situation, including the Kotaku report, where Harrison and Sucker Punch faced online backlash from the anti-woke crowd, angered by Harrison's joke. Yeah, the anti-woke crowd, again, condemning celebration of political violence. How anti-woke of them to say that. But here was the response from this co-founder saying, Drew's no longer an employee here. I think we're aligned. Listen carefully. I think we're aligned as a studio that celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us, and we condemn that. Kind of. In no uncertain terms. That's sort of our studio, and that's kind of where we are. What a pathetically squirmy response. Absolutely no fortitude on this man making this statement. This is absolutely pathetic beyond belief. He can't come out and just outright condemn what this artist did because he either agrees in some way with what they were saying or he's too afraid to fully condemn it. This was nothing but a PR spin. This was damage control, and it was done very poorly. I know some people will accept the firing as enough, right? They fired her. That's good enough for some people. They'll still go out and buy the game, and that's fine. But anyone thinking this is a legitimate apology, you're coping. I mean, just listen to the way he says this. I think we're aligned as a studio. We condemn that, kind of. That's sort of our studio, and that's kind of where we are. Again, either this guy was basically had his arm twisted into making this to try to save face with the public and do some damage control, or he is captured by his own studio and their ideology. Whatever's happened there, this sort of thing, this sort of aggressive advocating for political violence and other unhinged things has become so normalized there that he can't speak out against this because his own studio will turn on him. So he makes this half-baked effort to sort of kind of condemn what is going on with the situation and the celebration of political violence resulting in a man's murder. This is absolutely pathetic. I condemn not only what happened to Charlie Kirk, but I condemn half-hearted statements like this. I don't believe you. This is not sincere whatsoever, but it did have an effect. Some people were angry about the reaction from Sucker Punch themselves. They're upset that Drew Harrison was fired and that they, quote-unquote, apologized for what Drew Harrison had said. As pointed out by Cabrutus here, people on Blue Sky were very angry. Here's one post saying, caving to online pressure from dudes who aren't going to buy and play Ghost of Yotei because the protagonist is a woman is pretty stupid. All you're doing is alienating the people who want to play the game. Yeah, I don't think anyone's not playing Ghost of Yotei because there is a female protagonist. I think that is a very made-up, straw man type claim. And also, talking about alienating, I think it's pretty alienating for a senior artist of this production to go out and make it clear they would celebrate the murder of basically half of the United States because of their political affiliations. Yeah, this is pretty alienating to me, but here's another one saying, how pointless, firing a dev out of fear of losing potential sales from a bunch of smooth-brained losers that were never going to play your game anyways because a woman is the lead character. Also, F Charlie Kirk and everything he stood for. I identified the Twitter freak. They're now hiding on Blue Sky, but they're still there, man. Here's another one saying, Ghost of Yotei is being published by fascist collaborators. Imagine firing this woman and still being called a fascist. You can't please these people. It's so funny. They tried and they still hate you. Or should I say, now they hate you because they were happy to see those comments from Drew Harrison. And now that you fired her and apologized for it, now these wackadoos are mad at you. But here's one more saying, you probably have heard this. The dev at Sucker Punch Studio working in Ghost of Yotei has been fired for her comment on the death of Charlie Kirk, which is not even mocking just a perfect shot like the one of dark humor. Like, I don't know what this person's trying to say. I think being on Blue Sky literally fries your brain to the point you can barely function, or maybe you barely function and that's why you go to Blue Sky. Chicken and egg type situation. But anyways, here's another response. They got a lot of attention, 500k views, 5,000 likes, where this person, I don't even have words to describe how pathetic this is. They say, I've decided to cancel my pre-order of Ghost of Yotei and pre-order the collector's edition instead. This is the result of people being too annoying. It gives the opposite effect. I literally did plan to get this. Now I am. That's awesome, dude. I'm glad you were already planning on getting this game and now you're still getting this game, but paying more for it. And also enjoy your digital copy, dude. Unfortunately, the physical copy does not come with the big collector's edition, so enjoy your digital copy of this game you're pre-ordering, which is just a very sad state of affairs for gaming in general right now. But yeah, people are roasting this, and for very good reason. This is just, I mean, come on, dude. Have some pride in yourself and actually, like, have a backbone. But anyways, this is the other thing that's been talked about. I briefly talked about this in the previous video about this game. A lot of people are talking about Erika Ishii, and they kind of share some sort of an attitude towards boycotting. It's just not a very good one for business. Just a few months ago, she said, if you're MAGA, we don't want or need your business, which excludes nearly 80 million Americans, by the way. Bravo, what a great marketing strategy to have this person who is playing the main protagonist of this game to come out here and exclude basically half of the United States. What an excellent marketing strategy. But people are talking about plenty of things she has said over the years, including her desire to abolish the police, which is a really deep statement if you're a terminally online 14-year-old. And then they say over here, very heavily implying that anyone who voted for Trump is a fascist and supports it. And then down here, when they were approached by someone who asked if they were single, they replied by saying that they were going to inflict violence upon them and then describe themselves as a femme fatale based on their preferred pronouns. But this is the one the people are talking the most about. Back in 2020 saying, I'm Antifa, so's my wife. Now this one's getting extra attention over the past couple of days due to the controversy with Drew Harrison, but also with some developments going on in the United States. So why is this comment so important? So Antifa is an organization. This is a famous mugshot of their members being arrested. And as you can see, these are the people calling you fascists on social media for reasons that make absolutely no sense. So you have these like 20-something-year-olds, unemployed, unwashed, Zay-Zem types who literally don't have the strength or the fortitude to pick up a pencil that they need to fill out these job applications they so desperately need. And also a lot of crazy cat ladies apparently support Antifa because I guess it makes them think they're a part of the cool crowd and hip and all that stuff. As you can see, this person is getting their insane support of this group validated through their own cat, because now they need an animal to confirm, against its will by the way, their own political beliefs. Very normal stuff, but this is why a lot of people are cranking up the heat on anyone who is claiming support, or even, in Erika Ishii's case, claiming membership of Antifa. Because President Trump has signed an executive order that's going to label Antifa as a designated domestic terrorist organization. So Erika Ishii is quite literally claiming that she and her wife are a member of a designated terrorist organization. Do you see how that might be a bit of a problem, and how people already had negative feelings about that, but now it's like really, really grounded in a very serious way too. And people are just looking at this and it's like, are you shocked people don't want to buy your game? I mean, seriously, I don't care if you're on the left, center, right, whatever. If you're even close to a normal person, you find Antifa repulsive. And this person is out here proudly proclaiming they're a part of it. And I'm supposed to buy your game. And we have multiple people saying unhinged things, clearly supporting violence and violent groups. And you know what? A lot of people, they have fatigue. They can't separate the art from the artist anymore. They look at stuff like this and they say, you hate me. You would probably celebrate violence against me. And you don't even want me to buy your game in the first place because of political beliefs or gender or whatever. Yeah, I think I'm going to sit this one out. Are you really surprised that people are doing that? But there was some backlash on this entire situation. So here's an article from the very respected source Pink News saying attempt to spark backlash against Antifa LGBTQ plus Ghost of Yotei actor and their wife backfires. Yeah, it backfired. Also, I like how they mention LGBTQ plus when, for example, in this video, I haven't mentioned her gender or sexuality a single time because it's not even important. I'm looking at what she is saying and being like, yeah, that's insane and stupid and dangerous in some cases. So I don't know why they're including that, but their entire proof of all of this, that this whole thing is backfired, going after her for supporting Antifa. They have one tweet where this person says, in reaction to people pointing out this post she made about Antifa, I'm making sure to pre-order it ASAP. And the least obvious botted tweet award goes to this user. But then that's still not enough. This person says fascism shouldn't be supported, referring to the fact that Drew Harrison was fired. So they still believe the studio is run by fascists. Like I said, you literally cannot win with this situation. You can't win with these people. You're going to piss them off no matter pretty much what you do. And even when you try to bow before them and appease them, they're still angry because they want to be angry because they're just terminally offended by everything. But overall, another set of bad looks for Sucker Punch and Ghost of Yotei. And how this works out, like I said, they're going to sell a lot of copies, but it's a matter of how much damage was done to their brand thanks to all this. But we'll have to wait and see. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.